Kal Kadosh, Boker Or, Masechet Menahot Daf Yomi Daf Pechet Amud Aleph. We're going to start on Peizanim Mubet Gemara. You remember we were speaking about the different measurements of the lach, midot lach. Okay. So it says like this.
Liquid.
Yeah, the liquids. So it says like this. Sheva, right? Tanu Rabbanan, we learned in a Braita. Sheva midot shelach. Shahayu b'mikdash. There were 7 different measurements of liquids in the Bet HaMikdash. Revita log, chetzia log, revita yin, shlishita yin, chetzia yin, hin, divrei Rabbi Yehuda. These are the words of Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Meir Omer, Rabbi Meir says, hin v'chetzia yin, shlishita yin, revita yin. I don't know why he switched the order. One more time, because the other one was starting with logs, and then the other one's going into hins.
Hin. Then kabitza.
And then, yeah, but then here he's flipping it. So one second, he's doing...
It's not liquid.
Hin, hold on 1 second. Hin was the last one. He's going backwards. Hin, v'chatzia hin, shlishita hin, revi'ita hin,
Right.
then log, chatzia log, revi'ita log. It's the same thing. What? It's the exact same thing. What did he do? He just switched the order. Okay, so that's the amounts in kabetza and the dry measurements. Fine. No. But look in the thing. It's the exact same thing, just the other order. Baruch Hashem. Rabbi Meir mimone et otam midot shemana Rabbi Yehuda ulam beseder afuch. V'Gemara lekaman teveret mashvut shinui seder. Meaning it's the exact same thing, but just backwards. And the Gemara is going to explain what's an afkamina, because I was looking and I'm like, there has to be a difference here. But then you're looking, okay, fine. So you switched the order, but that's it. But it's the exact same. Right? Selamim shos. Rabbi Yehuda, bidiyuk oto davar. The exact same measurements. Just he started from A to Z, and the other one started Z to A. That's all that it is. Fine. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Shimon Omer, Rabbi Shimon says, lo yasham hin. There was no hin at all. Right? He says, why? Why was it there, the hin bichlal? So pechet amud aleph on the top, 88a on the top. Et mi avi tachtav. So what am I going to put instead of the hin? At the end of the day, if there was 7, and everybody agrees that there's 7, and now I'm going to take away the hin, so what am I going to substitute it for? So he says, there was an extra one of a log and a half. Sheboya muded lechavite kohen gadol, which was for the chavite kohen gadol. Logu mechza b'boker, 1.5 in the morning. Logu mechza b'rabim, 1.5 in the afternoon. Amrulo, so they told him, chetzi log hayita sham. He says, I don't understand. You had the half a log, so if shar leshaer b'chatzi log, so you could have done the chatzi log. Meaning, if you need to do measurements, right? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that. If you need 1.5 cups, what do? Take 1 cup and then take half a cup.
Right.
So same thing. If you had 1 log and you had chetzi log, so therefore just take 1.5. So what do you need an extra measurement, which was called a 1.5 cup? Just take 1 cup and then a half a cup. That's it. That's all that you need. Right? That's what he's saying. Like he says, I don't understand what you're talking about. You understand? That's what he says. So let's see. So he says, yeah, Amar lahem, says Rabbi Shimon after divrechem, even according to you. Chetzi log lo yaseh, right? Don't do a half a log one. Why? Revit itasham. And you could do, right, with a revit. Meaning do 2 revits equal a half, 2 quarters equal a half. So take the revit, do two of them, and then you have the half. Ela but rather, this is the general rule. Whatever was used for one was not used for another. Yeah. So therefore, since it wasn't used for another one, so that's it. So they couldn't use the chetzi log and the revita log. He says because at the end of the day, for the one of the kohen gadol. So therefore, so ma'ika ben says the Gemara, okay, fine. So ma'ika ben Rabbi Meir Rabbi Yehuda. What's the difference between them? At the end of the day, salam the bidiyuk otodovar. Just the order. Well, what's the difference? So he says, Rabbi Yochanan says, Birutze midot ikubenau. The difference between them is the extra, which is above the utensil. Leman damar mimata lemala, according to the man damar, that it goes from the top to the bottom. Kasava birutze midot nikachu, that even the extra is going to become kadosh. Verevita ivle rachmana Moshe, and the revita was given to the Moshe. Right? And he told him, Sha'er de ka'ailulu birutzim, right? You're going to be mesha'er, you're going to evaluate here. Right, because you're going to have things which are going to be above. So the did not become holy. So the Gemara, the Hakadosh Baruch Hu gave him the hin le Moshe, and he says because now it's going to come out. Meaning that basically like this: if you're going from down to up or up to down, one of kamina is what was the measure that was given to Moshe Rabbeinu by Hashem. The first shita was revit. Second shita was the hin. So therefore, that's why it's actually starting with that. Right? Another nafkamina is going to be not only which one was actually given, right, to Moshe Rabbeinu. What about the extras? Meaning the extras, does it become holy or doesn't become holy? right? So that was also going to be a machloket. Oh, yeah, exactly. So that was going to be the machloket between Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda. Abaye says, "Chuli alma birutze mikodo." Everybody holds that it becomes holy. V'ikalemim are nikachu, and it also becomes nikachu. Right? Sorry, v'ikalemim. Some people say shalom nikachu. So v'hacha, but here b'meleim kamipalge. The machloket is, does it have to be full? Mandamar, according to Mandamar, milmala lamata, from top to the bottom, kasav meleim sheli chasev shelo yitir. It has to be maleh, means you cannot lack and you cannot put more. Right? Lo pachot velo yoter. You can't do more or less. Umandamar, but according to the Mandamar matalmala, he's going to hold milim shelo chaser aval yotir. You can't make it chaser, but you could put more. Why? Milim karinam, because it's still called maleh. Meaning like this: if I'm going to tell you I've got a full cup, so I've got a full cup, even if I've got a little bit extra more than the cup. But I cannot tell you I have a full cup if I'm lacking. You understand? So therefore, that's what he's trying to say. He's trying to say, listen, less, it's not going to work. But more, that could work. Right? That's what he's saying. It could work. Fine.
We go by division.
So that's what you're doing. So Amar Mormor says, Rabbi Shimon says, Lo yasham hin, there was no hin. So Shapi Kamal Rabbi Shimon Rabbanan. He says, one second, the Rabbi Shimon was correct. What he's saying. So he says, Rabbanan, but according to Rabbanan, Hava hahin de avad Moshe, right, Leshem and Mishcha. He says, no, you know why they needed the hin? For the Shem and Mishcha, not for a korban, for Shem and Mishcha. Tichtiv, as it says in the pasuk, the Shem and Zait hin, right? The Shem and Zait was a hin, which he used for the anointing, right? The anointing of everyone. So more Savar, one of them holds given the little Vignas. So according to one of them, it was only needed once in history. And after that once in history, it was put in Geniza. Because you didn't need it again.
Because when you make it the Kohen Gadol.
Yeah, but you're still using it from the same original bottle of the hin. So since you're still using it, you never needed anything else. So that's it. So that's why it's going to be what? Right? That's it. Put it in Geniza. But according to that one, Kevin the Hava, once it was once, it stayed for Dorot, even though there was never going to be used again. Meaning there was going to be like one jug over there that was just never used again. It was used once upon a time. That's it. And that's it. It was just
how often they changed the Kohen Gadol to be Nimshah?
Well, in the second, first of all, there was no Shemer HaMishcha in the second Bet HaMikdash. The Shemer HaMishcha was only in the first Bet HaMikdash, and many times they didn't.
Is it 24 months or 2 years that they changed?
No, it could be for Shimon HaTzadik was 40 years. Yochanan Kohen Gadol was 80 years. You know, the 80 years. Let me imagine.
But he kept himself going, or there is like a vote. And
no. They keep on going until they die. Remember, it was like the Rishon LeZion. Do you know the Rishon LeZion was for life? When Rav Ovadia Yosef became the Rishon LeZion, they didn't like him, so they purposely went and they voted and they made it 10 years. Right? But really, Be'emet, if not, think about it. He would have been the Rishon LeZion for his entire life. There would have not been Rav Mordechai Eliyahu. There wouldn't have been Rav Bakshi Doron, Rav Eliyahu Bakshi Doron. There wouldn't have been Rav Amar. There wouldn't have been Rav Yitzchak Yosef. There would have been nobody. I think Rav Ovadia Vegamano. That's it. Everything would have been Rav Ovadia. You understand? So think about it. You know, it was for life. Right? Later on, but really, it was for life. Kohen Gadol was for life. It would never change. Unless it was a psul, obviously, or something like that, a disqualification or whatever it is. But
the one that Mishamechet Kohen Gadol, they used to come like take a turn. The Kohanim.
Which ones? The
Kohanim that
because the other Kohanim, they would do but it wasn't a title. The title of Kohen Gadol was for life. Okay. Kohen Gadol, for life. Yeah? So Amar more says, who am I going to bring instead of it? Lo sagya de lo ma'ayel. He says, what? I have to take something instead of the hin. So he says, like Ravina says, Gemira, we have a tradition. There's only going to be 2 different cases of semicha by korbanot tzibur. So to here, we have a Gemira, we have like a tradition. The tradition was 7 midot of, meaning that we asked, okay, fine, so you just took one off, so now you have 6. What's the big deal? No. We had a tradition that there had to be 7. So since it was a tradition, there had to be 7. If we take one off, we have to put something else in. Okay? Next, they had like different teeth or different like signs, right, that they used to like measure. He says what? They didn't have 7, meaning like this. If you've got a big thing and it's got teeth in the middle, so then why do you need 7 different jugs? Have the biggest one and have, like the baby bottle answers. 1 ounce, 2 ounce, and then that's it. Measure cup, and that's it. So says the Gemara, right? What he did. He says, no, according to him, he doesn't hold of it. Meaning, according to the Shita, he doesn't hold it. There was 7 utensils. There was only 1 utensil, and that utensil had the teeth, and therefore it showed you where it was. If you could answer, Sheva Medidot. There's 7 types of measures. Meaning, how many teeth did it have? Like 7. Meaning that was not that it was 7 Medidot. So the whole question. Exactly, not seven
One
kelim.
keli.
It was one keli
One
with
keli was
seven different midot in the keli. Mishnah on the bottom of Pechet Amud Aleph. Revi'it ma'ita meshameh. What do you need the revi'it for? Revi'it was for mine le'nitzorah, was for the mine, for the mitzorah. So he says Urvit Shemen, and was a Urvit Shemen, right? Lenazir. Chetzi log maya meshemesh. What was the chetzi log? Chetzi log mayim for the sutah. The chetzi log shemen letodah, and the chetzi log shemen of the todah. So if you realize there's always going to be, for now, there's going to be water and oil. So you had revit of the water for mitzorah and the revit of oil for the nazir, and then you're going to have chetzi log mayim for the sutah and chetzi log shemen, right, for the todah. Okay? Ubalog, what did you do for the log? So the log was for all the menachot. Afilu minchat shel 60 misron, even if it was going to be 60 saron, you used to give 60 logs of shemen. That means basically for every single pound of flour or whatever you want to call it, it wasn't exactly pound, but I want to say you had the oil. Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov omer, afilu minchat shel 60 saron, en la loga. You're only getting one log. So it means a huge machloket. Imagine you're going to have 60 liters for 60 pounds of flour, or you're going to have 1 liter of oil
60.
for 60. It's a huge difference. Shneimar lemincha v'log shamen. Right next, shisha login, which is the chetziayin. What was that for? For the par, right? What does that mean? For the yayin v'shemen of the par, right? Varba login, which is shlishit for the ayil. Shlosha login, which is revit ayin, for the keves, right? Shlosha umechza, 3.5, was from the menorah, chetzi log lechol ner. Half of a log per candle. Okay? Fine. Says the Gemara. Yativ Rabbi v'kakashele, Rabbi was sitting and was asking the question, Revi'it, lama nimshecha? He says, why is it going to be, why was the Revi'it a log, right, anointed with the Shemen HaMishcha? He says, why? Mitzorah, if you're going to tell me now that it's for the Mitzorah, right, Pechet Amubet, yeah? So he says, Chutzu, it was outside of the Machaneh, so he's going to be Taor, right? So therefore, why did you have to be Mekadesh the water? Ve'i Nazir, if it's going to be the Nazir, Lechem Nazir b'Shchitat Ayil Mekadesh. The Lechem Nazir becomes Kadosh in the Shchitat Ayil. So why did you have to sanctify and anoint the log, the Levita log? You didn't need it. You didn't need to sanctify it. The Nazir is going to be sanctified by the Shchitat Ayil, and the Mitzorah is going to be outside Bichlal. So what do you need it for? So Amalei Rav Chia says, Shebaya Modeh Chavitei Kohen Gadol. No, they used to come and use it for the Chavitei Kohen Gadol. So he says, Revit Shemen Lechol Chalav V'Chalav. He used to use one Revit of Shemen for every single Chalav of the Kohen Gadol. He said, Me'eretz Merchak Isha Tzati, which means Rabbi Chia, he came up from Bavel. So therefore he answered my question, right? That means Rabbi Chia answered my question that he had to come from Bavel to answer my question. You understand? He had to come from very, very far away. Okay, fine. So chetzi log maya mishamesh. What was the chetzi log used for? Yativ Rabbi v'kakashele. So Rabbi came and he was asking him chetzi log laman nimshach. Why is it going to be used? So he says, right lesota. If it was going to be used for the sota, why is chulin? It's ma'im kedoshim ktiv. It's already written in kedoshim. V'hi toda. If it's a toda, lachmet toda become holy b'shchita toda udekache. So again, he answers, that's he used to use that to be mechalek the to every single candle. Amarlo, he says, Ner Israel. He says, you are the Meir Nechachamim, you're the Ner Israel. Kachaya, that's exactly what happened. Okay? That means basically that's exactly what was happening. You're right, 100%. Meaning you're right. That's why you call him a Ned Israel. Ned Israel, he's a light upon Israel. And that's why they used it as a light for every single menorah. Meaning they divided it. That's what they needed it for, to divide all the things for the candles. Okay, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Amar Rabbi, he says, Rabbi Yochanan Rabbi, Ner shekafta v'nidashen hashemen. What happens if you have a Ner, the menorah, that turned off earlier than the time? And all of a sudden now it became all full of the deshin of the ptila, of the ashes of the ptila. Nidesha ptila, right? And now that means you can't use the ptila anymore. You can't use the wick anymore. Keitzad said, what do? Metiva. You have to throw out, right, everything which is outside of the candle. Then on temba shemen, you're going to put another oil, right? Umalikan, then you're going to have to light it again. Okay? So Yativ Rabbi Zreka coming by. So he asked the question, Keshuno temba shemen, when he's going to put the new oil, b'midah rishona or kimo shechisra? Well, you have to fill it up to the amount that you like. For example, let's say
Refill.
is it a refill or is it, you have to put the new a new
Quarter log.
exactly a new quarter log? Yeah, you put a mamash a new thing. So Amar Rabbi Yirmiyah pshita to b'midah rishona, right? It has to be like the first one. Why? Te'i kemash mechasra. As if you're going to tell me that which is lacking, menay adin and mechasra. How do you know how much is lacking? V'chitem, and if you're going to tell me the Mishael, just see. Meaning, like many times, like you can make a little tiny thing on the oil, like we have like the oil glasses. So you like make a little tiny thing on the oil glass. So every single time it's always up to here. And now all of a sudden, if it's lacking, then you just fill up to there. If so, Sheva Midot Nafish Le Midot Tuv, then you're going to have much more than Sheva Midot. You're going to have more. Exactly. Yeah?
Continuous.
Continuous. So he says, which means that since you were so sharp, you were able to know the truth. The Yitmar Nami was also stated, Amar B'Yevum, Rabbi Yochanan, Amar Rabbi Abba, Rabbi Chanina, Amar Rebbe, Ner shekavtav nidashen, Hashem nidasha b'tila, b'ketzu zeh, how do you do it? Metivav notem b'Hashem en k'midah rishona. You're going to come and you're going to put the oil exactly like the original one. Umalika. So Amar Rav Huna bered Rav Yehuda ben Shashat, shebamigdash shel prakim, the ner, the menorah of the migdash was made of prakim ava. What does that mean? You could actually like fold, you could like bend it and bend it back. So kasavar, so he held when it's written kikar umiksha, a menorah venorotea dichtiv. It's only on the menorah and the nerot. They came in the mikara tava. So once they were actually putting the tava, he loved the prakim. If it wasn't made out of prakim, that you could actually bend it. Lo v'metayvele. So therefore, you couldn't have cleaned it out. How do you clean it out? So it had to be that it was like a fold. It was able like to fold, to bend, in order to come to fold it. That means the nerot was all one, but not the actual. Okay, so now he comes and he says like this. He says, "Meit ve'iketzad osem esalkan u'nicham ba'oel u'mekancham besfog noten ba'en shem malikan." He says, "What are you talking about?" He says, "The Kohen, how would he be mitiv in the nerot? You know how? He would take out all the candles. He would take everything out. He would put it in the oil moed. In moed, he would come and take like a sfog, like a sponge, and take out all the oil and everything else. Right? And then he used to come and he used to put all the oil. Yeah, exactly. So therefore, there was nothing the bending. So he says, "Udamar ke'etanya tzanya chachamim onim lo yimazidinu to mikom." He says, "No, they would never move the candles at all." That means according to the Shita, they would never move it. So Mikaldi Baile Luzuzi Matzmin, he says, what? If you could move it, you would have been able to move it. But they used to say, no, Lo Haita Zazamim Kumai, it would never move. Uman Chachamim and who's the Chachamim? Rabbi Lazar, it's Rabbi Lazar Tzadok. The Tanya was learned in the Braita, Rabbi Lazar Tzadok Omer, Kemin Tas Shel Zahav Yala Al Gaba. Every single candle had like a tas of zav, like a gold plate. Keshu metiva, so when he used to come and do it, dochka klapepia, he used to dochek the tas by the ner, right? And then, right, he used to like bend it. Then he used to come and he used to put pressure on the top of it. Uviprukta the hani tanai, and this is the machloket of these tanaim. The Tanya was learned on the right, Amenorah v'Nenotea ba'ol mina kikar. They would come from kikar zahav. Ve'en malkachea machtotea mina kikar, but not the malkachea machtotea. Rabbi Nechemia Omer, no, the menorah was from a kikar, ve'lo nerotea malkachea, not from the nerot. So basically the question is, was the nerot, which is on top of the menorah, was it made out of a different part of the menorah, or was it part of the menorah? If you tell me it's part of the menorah, so they couldn't fold it. It was all mikshachat. It was all one mold. Yeah, but if you're going to tell me, yeah, the top part, which was mamash, where the candles go, right. So therefore, if you're going to tell me it's separate, that you will be able to bend it. But Maika mipalge, what are the machlok between them? Maika this pasuk.
Didn't we say that it has to be like all?
No, that's wicks. The wicks and the candles, you would put them all in one thing, right, facing inwards. Okay. But not actual how do you call it? The top part, right? So the question is, was the top part made as one or was it made separately?
One.
Right? So that's machloket. The Tanya kikar zav yaseota lemano menorah sheba mikikar minayin nerotea. What about the nerot of the menorah? Tamunumar et kol hakalim haele. Yechol shani marbe makokeh maktotea. Tamunumar otah. Divrei b'Nechemia. So he says one second, but then there's a stira between Rabbi Nechemia and Rabbi Nechemia. One place of Nechemia is telling you that it wasn't coming from the kikar, and the other one is saying that it is. So what's going on? So he says, Tret Tanai Liba Rabbi Nechemia. You're right. There's two Tanaim in the Shita of Rabbi Nechemia. So since there's two different Tanaim, so we're not really sure, right? Rabbi Yoshua ben Korcha Omer, Menorah ba min hakakar, ואין מלקחי מלכותיה ונורותיה באו מן הכיכר, ואלא מה אני מקיים את כל הכלים האלה, שיהיו כולם של זהב. Everything has to be out of gold. Meaning not that it's made out of the same gold, but everything was made out of gold. So zahav bedit, he says, one second, but it's written mefurash gold. Well, what's the question? So he says, "V'asita et ninoteh shiva v'lo denoteh v'yida lepanim v'panim." It's a tav daor. It has to be pure gold. So he says, "No, let's nitzachah lenorot." We're talking about the candles, where also the ptila was going to be. Sal kadayta mina. I would have thought to say whole of it becomes black. So v'torah's chasal mamonan shel Yisrael. Oh, you're going to put something gold. It's going to become all black. So he says, "V'liyavet zav koldu." So just make it out of any gold. So he says, "Kamash malan." It has to be also zav taor. It has to be 100% pure gold. That's what it has to be because of what we just mentioned now.